Hello everyone. I am Aditya Pahilwani and I love to talk about React Native and cross-platform development in general. Apart from this, I really love to play video games and learn more about Indian equity markets uh, and invest more money in it. Whenever markets fall, I would be the most happiest person in the room. Today I am going to talk about how to grow your portfolio at 20%. I guess this gets people more excited than React Native here. But sorry, I can't talk much about markets today. Today I am going to talk about Garuda, which is our in-house analytics SDK for mobile at Twins. Now, before I begin, I want to address the elephant in the room, which is what's in the name. So in Hindu mythology, Garuda is the king of the birds, who is always in motion and ever aware about all the surroundings. It's just like our SDK, which silently captures all user behavior in real time. So what we are going to cover today? First, why we built this SDK in the very first place. Second, its architecture and overview. Third, why we built it natively. Fourth, which is the most important one here, what was its impact on business and product teams. Now, to begin with, Twins already had a web app running from which the business was flowing, and business and product teams were using a couple of analytic tools for different use cases. We had Firebase, Mixpanel, and Fsire. You name the analytic tool, we might already be using it. So when we were creating our mobile app, we had to track events and we had to integrate these SDKs. Now, for example, we have a screen here showcasing our bestseller product, which is cashmere sweaters. So we need to track some events that this page was viewed in order to drive business, right? But that same event needs to flow to 3 or 4 and multiple SDKs as per the demand, right? Which comes with its own problem, right? Because we need to integrate these SDKs and we also need to maintain them moving forward as well. Not only that, these SDKs have their own native counterparts. So whenever we fire a track event from JS, at the end it goes to native underland, right? So having more SDKs also means that we would be communicating much with the native layer. And in React Native, we want to keep this communication as low as possible and we want to keep the thread free, right? So thankfully, at the same time, we were also building a internal data server platform to replace these analytic tools. And for the time being, we store that data internally and we multiplex that data through different providers as per need. Now, with that in place, we made Garuda, which is our single client SDK. Now, our client doesn't need to talk to multiple SDKs. It only talks to Garuda. So Garuda would take care of routing and tracking all of the events of the app and sending to our internal data server platform. Now, about its architecture, all events are collected via Garuda's public API. And the very first place we reach here is event constructor. Here, we take the event and we take the event data and we massage it because we want to attach any logged in user detail if provided. What was the device user was using and a couple of more metadata about device properties alongside a session ID, which Garuda internally manages based on the user activity. This session ID is primarily used to track user behavior across its journey. Next, the constructed event flows to a event scheduler block. Here, we save the event and its data in our DB, and we talk with the config provided. So config gives a couple of things, that what's the trigger limit that we want to start sending these collected events to our platform. And we have also a configuration for what should be the batch size. So whenever the trigger limit hits, we loop through our database and we create small batches of events and we start sending it to our server. And as soon as it reaches to network layer, it comes with a inbuilt retry mechanism. So unless and until the server acknowledges to us that they have received that event, we don't delete that event from our database. It's just kept there. And even if the retry mechanism fails in a worst case scenario, it would be kept in the database and it would wait for the next flushing event to happen. Now, in order to have more low latency and we want to send the events more faster, we have another thing in place, which is an app state notifier. So whenever our app goes in background or whenever it starts, we just flush our DBs. We loop through it and we create batches and we send all the events to our server. This ensures that there is low latency, and on iOS, there are very less app kills because it's in the background most of the times. So it comes really handy here. Now, this is the whole architecture overview, which I just explained right now. Now, moving to why we built it natively. The complete solution which I talked about right now is built in, completely built in native, doesn't have any JS code. Now, reason being, let's just look this problem at the other way around, right? Because if we have this in JS, what are the benefits? We can share the same code across platforms, right? But it comes with a cost, because we are in a React Native world where we want to keep the JS thread as free as it's possible, because we want to interact with the next click as soon as it's possible, right? So having this in JS layer would encounter one big problem, which is if you see at Garuda, it wholly depends on database, because that's where we store the event, we read it, we update it, a couple of things. Having all it in JS would also mean that I need to do it via JS, which means too much of native communication, right? Any library which we would integrate would at the end would talk to native Wonderland via JSI in our case. It comes with its own cost. Keeping all of these things in native actually makes things very simple, because now JS only says track event. All the batching, all the flushing queuing, retry mechanism, etc. happens on a different thread on native layer. The JS thread is free and it can respond to another user tabs very quickly. So it's a conscious call on performance which we have taken, and it has worked quite well. Now, coming on its impact on business and our product teams. First, the collected data now facilitates all the A/B experiments which we run as of today. And because there is no client-side SDK integration and everything happens from our server, we can integrate any new provider as per the need, because it doesn't require any changes from client. Third, which is the most successful story which we had, that it helped us to prevent any event loss. We had a bad downtime of around a half an hour or hour, and we lost 0 events, because every event was just stored in the DB, and on the next flushing event, we just got it. We lost 0 events. So what's next for Garuda? So we are primarily looking at observability. So currently we track a couple of app vitals in our app, which includes TTP, TTI of our pages. Alongside, we are planning to expand to track success and failure rates of APIs, that because many times we need to track from client that for any pages where there were a half page error, some part of data which we couldn't load, we need to track even that to analyze where partial error cases are there. And we also want to power a native A/B testing with variant assignments. Alongside, we are exploring a configurable event management through our backend services. Now, as I speak today here, Garuda now tracks millions of events from our client every hour, and it has been working flawlessly for us. It's been a very big success story for us. Now, I want to thank all of my team here, which has been a collaborative effort to pull this off. And one more thing, if this sounds interesting to you and you want to work with more challenging problems in mobile engineering space, do contact us. Contact me or Pratik, who is here. If you are interested, do reach out to us. Thank you so much for your time.